Meet Cytachain, the world's most innovative crypto ecosystem. Cytachain simplifies DeFi for mainstream users and seamlessly integrates crypto into everyday life. Discover the endless possibilities with Cytachain's Layer 0 blockchain. Go and check them out, cytachain.com.
From meme to utility, Floki has it all. NFT metaverse game called Valhalla. Floki University, DeFi, charity, and shopping. Floki is governed by the people, for the people. Floki, together there is no stopping us.
Lattice is a Layer 2 network powering the next generation of decentralized applications. Everything we need all in one. Permissionless, frictionless, and boundless. Go and check them out. Metis.io.
Have you ever wanted to invest in real estate but never had the means to do it before? With Credify, your opportunity has arrived. With as little as $100, you can tap into a whole new world of reliable loans backed by a range of real-world assets, including real estate, future receivables, and more.
Good afternoon, everyone. BT Richfield here, coming to you live from London. It's just gone a couple of minutes past midday, making it the same time UTC. Big shout out to everybody that's making the stream live today. A special mention for Joshua Walker, first in today, and I think a first as well, so very much welcome. And obviously a big shout out to everybody that's watching this on recording as well. So, got a special guest coming on today in the shape of my good friend and fellow Bird Nest member, Razzoorn. Excuse me. So he's going to be coming on and telling us all a lot more about this awesome indicator he's built, which maps out liquidity levels. So we're just going to take a look at that and how you can kind of overlay these things with traditional price action concepts like we cover on this stream as well. Quite often, how you can combine them to add a little bit of extra confluence. So before we do that, I wanted to open up the stream like we normally do. A few good mornings, first of all. Like I say, Joshua, welcome. Steve Etienne, good friend, Steve. Great to see you on the show, mate. Moral, always awesome to have you here. I love Erica as well. Julian. Who else have we got? Oh, my God. Like, I'm absolutely loving this name, but I can't explain to you how much I'm about to massacre this. So I'm just going to call you SZ, which is super special to me because he's a very special person to me and a lot of people as well. Moral, probably pay attention to those sponsors. Floki hit 100%. It did, mate. Yeah, we've been working with Floki for a long, long time now, and they are just an absolutely amazing company. I love that advert as well. And JVaz22. So all the hellos out of the way. Obviously, I know there's a lot of you that are tuning in through Twitter, Instagram, bits and pieces as well. If you do have any questions, I'll have with the chat. So please put it in. You are special indeed, mate. Sharing the name of an absolute legend. So thought process from the Bitcoin report last night. I kind of put this out on Twitter as well. Thoughts were really, really clear. I'm kind of focusing on the 4 hour at the moment because for me, it was just so very clean. But let me just zoom out to the weekly so we get the full context, okay? So, excuse me, as we're looking over here, previous all-time high, which here on Firmex 69K flat, we can see how this area is kind of capping the market at the moment. And for the last week, what we saw was the prior week to that, we had this upside wick, long wick being left down, showing you the absorption, showing the market's just not really ready at the moment to kind of break and hold above that level. So what we wanted to see was a strong close. So something like this, but obviously with a nice big bullish candle. And we didn't get that, right? So that's not a problem. I think sometimes we need to remind ourselves to zoom out, okay? So as we zoom out, we can see we've just been in this magnificent beast of an uptrend. Those of you that are familiar with the stream will know how much I love my fair value gap inversions. Excuse me. Sorry, getting rid of a nasty little chest infection at the moment. So look, nice inversion here. What did this do? This set our base, right? Then we've seen these different levels of accumulation as we pumped up to here. Now we've taken such a key liquidity pool up here, right? So when we look at these things, markets very, very rarely, or if ever, really go up in straight lines, right? Even when we look at the big drop down here, right? What happened? Price came down, corrective move up, you know, and it keeps working in this stage until we obviously get that breaking structure, right? Now, obviously on the higher time frames, hey, Whack, how you doing, brother? On the higher time frames, right, it's going to take a long time for us to get these market structure shifts, which is fine. But then obviously when we do get them, ultimately, we have to then respect the trend. So we're super bullish on a weekly, right? Now, I've been saying for a couple of weeks here that I think now, this fair value gap down here, right, on a weekly scale is going to be a really nice draw for price. Price can come back down to here, tends to do this overly bullish. Lots of people going in and throwing around a lot of leverage. So you often see these purges, gets rid of all the over leveraged positions before the market then gets back into its natural trend. Hey, Erica, lovely to see you here. Bull flag on the 12-hour from Raz. Got 20 minutes or so, and we're going to have this legend on the stream with us, telling us all about some liquidation levels. So really, really looking forward to that, guys. It's going to be a real treat. So basically, weekly scale, I think we're drawing down towards this. That's how I felt. That we have had a really strong reaction here, right? So we just zoom in on this candle here. We've kind of closed this, pin bar candle, small nose on the end of it, but that is a bullish candle. Why? Because drove all the way down here, right? And then the absorption just all got bought back up to here, showing really, really good bullish resistance. But now as we drop down onto a daily, excuse me, we can see where we had the sell-off here, right? Then we had this kind of stage, like a little interim recovery. Now, on a daily scale, for me, this wasn't an overly clean read, right? Because this fair value gap down here, we can see price already once used that big, strong reaction here to move higher. This was the deviation above the previous all-time high. Price got back underneath this level and ultimately started to sell off. Now, this is either a super, super bullish sign here, because price for me, is always seeking liquidity in the form of a low, a high, or a fair value gap. All right. Hey, Gio, how you doing, brother? So for me, it made sense that we would come down and kind of look to come into these levels here, right? We have this beautiful low there, which is within a fair value gap, as we can see here. So that makes it an intermediate term low. That's a really, really good liquidity pool. Hey, Vladdy, how you doing, mate? So my expectation was for price to come down here. Basically, we haven't had that. We've had a super bullish reaction. We've got liquidity resting both sides of the market at the moment. Price is kind of compressing into a little bit of a range. And I still want to see price kind of come in and start to hold back above this level. If we wanted to trade this really, really, really safely, right, then we've got, let me do this properly. We've got our line in the sand up here. So actually, if we want to be super accurate, it would be this high here. Now, for me, what I want to see overall, and more of a kind of long-term vision of this, is price kind of get back up above this, right, and then start to kind of hold in here and look for something like that, right? In a way that basically this is the previous deviation. So price came up, was rejected here and got back underneath. Price has no reason to get back above and hold that unless the bullish intent is enough there to really kind of push the market on. So I think that's really, really simple. However, Tim the Chin, hello, mate. However, the 4-hour has just been an astonishingly clean read. And when we got this last night, we're delivering from this fair value gap. We had this beautiful pin bar candle that formed on the close. We then closed back above this level here. But what we did, looking at some principles that sometimes kind of get forgotten in a lot of respects, right, which is market structure. So lower lows, lower highs, lower low, lower high, higher low. This little wick here, set a higher high, meaning that we've regained bullish market structure on the 4-hour. All right, so that's really important. The next thing that had me really excited is the close above this, right? So first of all, we're delivering from this fair value gap, which is bullish. We've shifted market structure on that delivery. We've had a beautiful big downside wick. All of these things just absolutely screaming that price is looking to move higher, right? Now, when we factor in the higher time frames, we still need to get above some key levels, right? So we want to see how this is going to react. How is price going to react here? Okay, how is price going to react when it gets to here as well? Obviously, we've got highs over there to the left too. This level here, this black line is actually the order block on the daily. So this is, don't be kind of put off by that. We would need to see a close above this on a daily scale. And in an ideal world, what would just be perfect is getting a close above this and this, taking out this lower time frame liquidity and setting price back above this kind of key level, meaning that really if price is there, I don't see any reason that it wouldn't be looking to at least kind of run for this. All right. So again, just going back to that core principle and playing these time frames level to level, right? So we've had this strong closeout now. I'd be really, really surprised if price didn't come up and start to take these on. A little bit tricky to kind of get into some long positions at the moment. We had some opportunities overnight, right? But this big expansion happened late last night, and then basically since we've been consolidating, which we do typically, obviously after like a little pump like that, and we normally see Asia have a little consolidation range as well. Nemesis, good morning, mate. Willius, let's have a look. Would you use the same strategy for memes? A new no history is made. How would you go about that? Yeah, that's a really, really good question, mate. In fact, do you have any particular memes on your mind? And we can take a look, and then we'll do a top down on it, and I'll show you how I would play it. Typically, you can only go with the history that you've got. So, you know, I don't really like. I use a triple screen system in the way that I trade, meaning I have a higher time frame that sets my bias. That's what's telling me where price is reaching for. I have an intermediate time frame, which is where I frame the trade, and then a low time frame that I execute on. So I don't like going below the 4 hour as the highest time frame, right? You know, normally you'll see a weekly or a daily used in that respect. So as long as you've got enough 4 hour data, right? And I know some of these tokens are super, super new, right? But if you've got any in mind, drop it in the chat and I'll show you how I would kind of approach those. But absolutely, I think your key friends always, however you trade, is your market structure, right? And then depending on what kind of trader you are, I like to look for liquidity. It makes sense to me that the market moves in that way, large positions. Crypto res. So, okay, good question coming in here as well. What are the key events this week that can influence Bitcoin price action? So, you know, most markets, or all markets, are aligned in the traditional sense. So, I'd definitely be looking for red folder news. You can use something like Forex Factory or Baby Pips or something like that. Or in fact, we've got one on our website as well. You can check out at the Bird Nest. Yeah. So let me just pop this in here. You can find all this stuff down in the link tree as well. But we've got like free insights for market screeners, bits and pieces like that on there as well. But I would always say get yourselves onto something like Forex Factory and look for the red folder news, things like FOMC, anything that's going to have an effect to traditional markets. Bitcoin is a risk asset. So, you know, quite often, and not always correlated, but we look at that, and then we would look at our equity markets as well. We can see on the side here, equity markets are down a little bit today, but the DXY is as well. It's always an interesting day to trade on a Monday. So it's normally a day that I tend to avoid a little bit. I like to see how Monday's range sets. And then from there, it kind of gives us an idea of where price is kind of reaching for. Excuse me. So just very quickly, if we just drop this down to say a 15-minute at the moment, I just want to give you my kind of thought process, because I do feel like, you know, price is kind of reaching for this up here. But what would I want to see to kind of confirm that? Well, what we've got at the moment is shaping up quite nicely. So I'm really interested in this price leg here. We've delivered from this volume imbalance here, right? We had this sweep of this low, which is nice. And then we had a really nice clean breakout, right? So let me show you that very quickly. So if we're looking at this here in terms of the volume imbalance, right? So you see we're delivering from this area here up to there actually. But there's a bullish state of delivery. We've had a sweep as we come through. Yeah, so we've taken out those lows. And then we had a really nice expansion above this. Yeah, so lots of displacement, price running up. Where's it going to go for? It's going to go and take liquidity above the high. Now, what does that tell us about what price can do in here? Well, we want to kind of see something similar. Now, this is the kind of origin of the move higher. So we can see this as kind of like the base, right? So we want to see this as holding. Yeah, we want to see this as bullish. This has come down into a nice area for us. Now, if we take our Fibonacci's, right? If we just put a traditional fib on there, we can see we're getting this nice reaction from the golden pocket and the 705. This is a nice area. We want to see price drawing down into this bottom 50%. This gives us our best risk to reward setups, okay? So now we're down in this area. Just going to get rid of that at the moment. We can see that we're building confluence. We're being able to create a narrative as to why price could be looking to go long here. Now, what else would I want to see? Well, I like to see inducement. We've got relative equal lows down there, which is a really nice target. Driven down there. And now we're having a nice, strong bullish reaction here. All right. So how would I look to play this? Well, there's a couple of different ways we can play this. I would want to see price typically get like above a gap. Yeah, so again, we've got a little bit of a volume kind of imbalance in here. We can see how we've just kind of nosed above that here. So an initial target can be this level here, and ultimately, obviously, we're reaching for this, and we can see what is above here as well. So then you can move down to, say, like a lower time frame if you're somebody that trades that way, and then you're looking for things like this, right? Sweeps, market structure breaks, and then price to kind of move higher from here. So that's the kind of principle. That's the thoughts on Bitcoin at the moment. Again, we just zoom out just a little bit and take a look at this. Really love the 4 hour super clean bullish structure resumed. And hopefully we're going to see a really good week of price action. If it does turn, excuse me, then we're looking back here and I'm just saying to myself, okay, look, we've got some really key targets now. We've got this low that was set. We've got the weekly fair value gap down below. So it's more than healthy if price wants to correct, but we just want to make sure that we're trading with the trend, right? So I'd want to see this fair value gap here violated, right? And especially this one come back below. And then my expectation would be for this low, and then price further down. Hey, Nick, how you doing, mate? Sure. Okay, so let's take a look on here at, what was it? BRET, yeah? Here we go. So I haven't traded this one actually, so I'm guessing is this one, is it? Let's take a look. Yeah, I mean, these are, yeah, really, really interesting. I mean, you can see straight away. I mean, look at this, just flat line. You've not really got a lot to go on here. So like I said, if you're looking at these, then your kind of read on stuff like this is going to be a lot more based around fundamental perspective, right? And that's why we're very fortunate to have the team that we have over at the Bird Nest. We've got an amazing fundamental team. Chris, who does the majority of our work, and Matt over there is, you know, fantastic asset to have within the company. And tokens like this, look, launch, massive dump, because you've got all the people that have got in pre-sale level, then they all dump the coins. Typically, you see them start like this. Then you just want to see a base built. And one thing I'll say about this chart at the moment is what you can see is you can just see this kind of block of consolidation, all right? So for me, I just think break and close above here, right? And I think this thing could really be looking to push higher, all right? But while it's kind of just trapped in this range, it's not even reacting. I think it's kind of a high and a low, but it's taken this liquidity down here now. It's had a pretty strong close underneath. You would have wanted to see some kind of bullish reaction there. And just, unfortunately, the price action is just, I think that's it down here somewhere. I mean, your key liquidity, if you like, is going to be below this low here, which is where that's obviously the, you know, the beginning that we've got in terms of any price data. But unfortunately, we can't really get too much of a read on this one at the moment. What I would say is, you know, you want to see lows swept, right? I mean, you're all the way down here. So be very, very cautious of that gap. Price can come up, fill these, and then obviously look to sell off more. But, you know, it's right pretty much at the bottom now. So in terms of that, I would look from a fundamental perspective and see how that kind of plays out. So, okay, good question here, which we've got from Crypto Res. BTC dominance is at a key level. How would you take that into account? Yeah, so a very, very good question. I think for me, I use that, I do utilize it, but I'm looking at that a lot more in terms of where I'm going to be allocating sort of my portfolio, right? So obviously Bitcoin dominance really, really strong, then you've got to be cautious. You know, that's just, Bitcoin's just going to soak up all of the money in the market, right? When it starts to cool off, when it starts to range, when it gets to a level of key support or resistance, and it kind of has that ranging period, that's when I'm really looking to kind of up my alt exposure. But yeah, I know a lot of other people will go into a lot more kind of detail on that. I can get just having a look at this. So you see, like here, I know it looks really, really binary, right? But I'm looking at it more in terms of like trend line breaks and structure. Yeah, we can see prices just starting to consolidate here, and this is normally really good news for alts, right? So even if we're just drawing the crudest of lines, I mean, in truth, we probably have more of like a triangle pattern here, actually. Yeah, just looking at these lows, right? You can see how prices kind of come into these lows here. But with something like that, you can just see price starting to kind of compress in here. But it does look like it's kind of finding a key area of support down here as well. So I think just holds here. The more it ranges, the better, really, if you're looking to get more exposure to alts. If we just go down our alt list, you can just run down this list at the moment. You can see certain assets starting to have a little bit of a run. NIA's really nicely up for the day as well. QNT, there's some outliers, but mostly it's kind of okay across the board. Monday tends to start a little bit indecisive, but there's some really nice winners in there as well. Obviously, not forgetting our awesome friends over at Token with Floki too. That's just been an amazing ride. Okay, someone really kindly asked a minute ago. So let's take a look at ARB very quickly as well. Nana, hello, mate. Hi, have a great start to the week. Very kind of you. Hope you the same. Any thoughts on Rose? Yes, sure. Let's have a look. Yeah, Token was released at the same time as the Bitcoin dump, hence the sell-off in ARB. Okay, really, really good point there. So sure, let's take a look very quickly at Rose for our friend Nana, shall we? And then we can take a look. Where are we? Let's go. Let's take a look on the Binance chart, shall we? Always nice amounts of data on there. And then remind me, guys, we'll take a look at ARB and we'll try and kind of pivot this in together because we can always use some of these as well and get Raz's thoughts when he's on very shortly with his liquidation levels. So, Rose, let's have a look. So we can see in terms of structure here, it's looking pretty bearish. I mean, it's tricky, right? Because that would be the key kind of low that I'm interested in here. Obviously, this low as well. I think what I'd like to see, or what makes quite a lot of sense for me, is for price to come down and take this low here. There's clearly a lot of liquidity resting below here. Look at the reaction that we had last time. And then at the moment, this order block here, which is kind of capping price, I think if we can see a bullish move above this and price start to close here, then my expectation is price to reach up for here, which is a 0.18561. And the reason for that, let me just draw this in as an OB. Excuse me. The reason for that as well is because I just want to see strength here rather than kind of just start, to just start to look to long this from the middle of nowhere. At the moment, it just hasn't had any kind of sweep. That's the only thing that concerns me here on the daily, right? If we just zoom out a little bit and just take a look at the weekly, we can just see how strong the weekly is still looking. And then I always remind myself just to be looking left, right? What's drawing price? Yeah, where's price heading for? Where's it kind of being pulled towards? And we can see that we've got this fair value gap here. And then above that, we've got this nice clean high. So for me, that's what's telling me that price is being drawn towards that, right? So it's filled this gap down here. And again, this was a really, really key gap because price was getting drawn up into this, got drawn up into here, rejected, came back up, again, couldn't close above it, right? As it sells off now and it's closed above here, this is when this gets really interesting for me because then we've inverted this on a weekly scale. And the expectation from here is that price will be pushing up to the next liquidity pool, right? Which is in the form of this gap or in the form of this high. So that's the key kind of thing that I'd be looking for there on that time frame. Obviously, now as we move down to a daily, this is where we're looking to kind of get a little bit more context. And I think it's quite natural. Price is kind of coming back down. We can see we've had a big expansion here, corrective move. Now, if this thing is going to continue in line with the highest time frame, which is our weekly, then we need to see this high taken out, price start to close above this. I want to see this order block flipped. Yeah, so it then goes from being bearish, so resistance, to support and use this as a base to move higher. Just looking at this very quickly on the 4 hour, we can see the 4 hour starting to look quite nice, actually. One moment. So we can see we're starting to get this kind of nice bit of bullish reaction here. And if we look at the gap that we had here that was suppressing price, yeah, so we see here bearish gap, price comes in, rejection. Then when we close above it here, our expectation is that for price to be seeking liquidity higher. Now, I know we're coming up into the realms of this order block here, but I'm just going to get rid of that for a moment just to make it a little bit clearer. And I'll do the same with this as well, because we know that's an area of support. So price hasn't taken this out yet. So I think for me, this is kind of on this time frame, this seems really, really clear. If I'm looking for where the obvious liquidity is, we've got this one. So that's a high within a fair value gap, right? Makes it an even more important liquidity pool. We do have this as well, which is sat within a little gap. So we want to make sure we're aware of that. Now, while these look quite close together, guys, if we were looking at to intraday trade these, each of these are like, 2.6% to here. I think this one's going to be even a little bit more, right? Sort of 4% to there, giving us really, really good opportunities to find trades in there, okay? So in terms of rows, I think it's looking all right. We came in, we set the lower low, then we've got a nice higher here, higher low. We've now set a higher high. Yeah, I think now what we want to do is just see price continue to push up from here and hold, excuse me, this bullish structure, and then just taking out these different levels as we move up. Again, and it's not really the time to just go crazy with the leverage and stuff like that. It depends if you're looking for spot exposure to this, or it depends if you're looking to intraday trade this. I think from an intraday perspective, I'd be happy to get involved in this, looking to go long. At what point would my bias change, or what would I need to see to jump on board with that? Well, quite simply, at the moment, if I want to be bullish, we've had a sweep of the low, which I really, really like. What else I like is that we've inverted this fair value gap, right? So that's key. Now we need to see this area hold. In an ideal world, we confirm this gap here, right? Which would be a bullish fair value gap, but only when this candle closes, because we don't know until it does. Just going to do this in green just to outline the plan a bit better. But then as price kind of draws down into this, I'd be then looking for a reaction for price to move up. The only thing that I don't really like here, and maybe where I'd wait for a little bit more confirmation, is this, right? So we've got this bearish gap above us, which I'll just do in red to just show you. So we could look to long here on the lower time frames, right? But then we'd be slamming straight into this. So I think the safest play here is to be patient, wait for the price to break, close above here. And then on the lower time frames, we look for that pattern where we get that sweep of liquidity, close above. And then ultimately, we're going to be looking to take out these liquidity targets over there. So that's the thoughts on rows. What I'll do, guys, is I can see, obviously, we've got a lot of requests coming in, which is really cool. Raz is going to be on with us in a couple of minutes. So I think we can patiently wait for him to come on. All right. And then we'll start taking a look at a couple of those for you as well. But just if there is anybody interesting, obviously, I do a lot of low time frame trading. That's kind of my area of specialty. If there is anybody today that's looking for the kind of setups we'd be looking for on the lower time frame, we can see here that it's difficult kind of running into this resistance, right? But we do have this nice kind of bullish recovery. So we can wait for this kind of dip as we've got now, wait for a liquidity pool to be swept, so we can see, even if it's just a little internal low like that, right? Because we're delivering from this big fair value gap. So as we look at that, then what we now want to see is some expansion up higher, a nice reclaim of this level, and then this pattern on here, at which point we can then look to get involved to be buyers from here. So flipping this from resistance to support. Hey, and Raz is on his way. So he'll be with us in a minute, which is awesome. Nana, you are very, very welcome. I'm sure you'll get a lot quicker at it, mate, the more and more time you spend behind the charts. Right, so let's take a look then. What else have we got? Just don't want to make sure I'm leaving anyone out. We'll take a quick look at ARB, shall we? Get Raz on as well when he's there. We'll take a little look at ARB. Manta as well. Yeah, sure, Vladdy. Legalpreneur, brilliant name. But thanks for your contribution to the crypto community. I've been much interested. IOTX, cool. Oh, no problem at all. Unfortunately, I'm not Burb, my friend. He is our wonderful talisman over here at the Burb Nest. I'm BC Richfield. So one of the trading team that works alongside him and has that great pleasure. So we can certainly take a look at that for you. IOTX. ARB as well. There he is. Here's our man. How are we doing, Raz?
What's up, man? How are you?
I'm good, brother. How are you doing?
Can you hear me well? I changed my microphone.
Yeah, man. Sure. It sounds really clear. Really nice.
Nice. I got one of those big dick ones,
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Awesome. You couldn't resist, could you?
No, I couldn't. Awesome. It's a new one, though, so I have two.
Man, it's nice. Sounds really nice. I have to tap you up for microphone game, actually. I do like my Shure mics and that, but I've got a really nice toner at the moment, and that's been working really well. But before we get carried away with a tech geek off, we've got some stuff waiting for you, Raz. Fresh and absolutely ready to rock and roll. Good man, Stevie boy, getting confirmation that you are sounding loud and clear. So, Raz, do you want to maybe start giving us your thoughts on Bitcoin? I'd
Sure.
be really keen to hear what you've got, and also with the liquidation levels. And then I've got a couple of tokens, IOTX, ARB, Manta, that some people want to kind of get you to check out as well, or for us to take a look.
Yeah, sure.
Legend.
Now?
Cool,
Okay.
cool. There we go.
So let's see if we can actually set it up for you this time. It's been like 1 year at least that you're trying to run those charts. And yeah.
I don't know if you saw the end of my last live show. I was flapping about for about 3 minutes trying to find the right chart, and then remembered it's the XBT one, like literally as I
know.
So, Raz, do you want to tell them why it's important that you have the right charts for these liquidation levels because of the open interest?
Yeah, sure. Let me actually start with this one, okay? I mean, don't scare, because a lot of people are scared of these charts, but it's actually pretty simple. I said it before. It gives you a nice edge at the starting of the week or of the day when you're like scalping.
Mm-hmm.
That you kind of know what you can expect, okay? And this is the weekly one. The red is the weekly. These are weekly profiles, okay?
And are you taking that from like the high to the low of the current kind of move?
These are anchored by the weekly open. Okay.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, so one of these profiles is 1 week. So this one is 1 week. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
This one is the last week, the previous week, and this is small one. The smaller one is the developing week. I mean,
start of this week. Awesome.
Yeah. Okay.
So then, what are you looking for here with this data?
Okay. Yeah. So it's really simple. Okay. It's just showing you where people actually care about BTC. Okay. Mm-hmm. That's like as simple as that.
And is that the point of control like that you're using for that? Is it or?
No. The profile, the darker side. This you see these darker areas, right? These are the value areas, and it just shows that here is where people actually cared about it, and the most volume has been traded here. And what I want is when we're in a bull market, the price to go like this. Okay. That's just like here. Look at these 3 profiles. Okay, they just we have this one, then we break it. Next value area is above the previous one, and same here.
So you're looking for it to kind of stack up on one another, like support resistance.
Yes. That's where I can see the bullishness, you know.
Yeah.
But right here, I mean, is where we get the failure, right? We went below. The value area is below this one. So it's just the first sign of the failure. You explained it very well at the beginning of your show by the price action, right? It went below. We have a huge wick to the downside. The candle is red and everything that you just said. But this one right here just says that, okay, let's just be careful a little bit. And this retest right here that we got off the value area low. Okay, and we got a huge rejection. I mean, in terms of weekly time frame, it's huge, like 8%, massive rejection off the value area low. It shows that I mean, someone just doesn't want BTC to go above here. Okay, that's just all you can tell. I'm not saying that the bull market has finished, but yeah, for this week, what I expect is this is the value area of the previous week, right? I marked it with black lines, okay, and we simply don't want to enter this one. Okay, so if I like turn it off, we don't want to go below this level right here. Okay, because we have this. So I'm recording a course, by the way, about all these profiles and volume profile and what's going on. I'm recording a more detailed course, but for now, if we get an like acceptance into this level, there's an 80% chance of we coming here, and this 80% is coming from the legacy markets. People have backtested it for like 20 years, and they got this 80%. So if we get a close for our close and retest and everything, there's an 80% chance of us getting like to 62. Okay,
nice.
So, yeah, that's all about the volume profile and weekly. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Now
Could
about the
we just do one thing, Rez, before we move on? Because I think people would find
sure,
this
man.
really interesting. Like, first of all, I'm really, really looking forward to your course coming out on this, right? Because I see how you use this for kind of intraday trading, which is obviously real kind of my bread and butter, and it's something that I
Yes,
really
yes.
want to like. I really want to kind of understand it better. So I think I'm going to be one of the first people to take your course when it comes out. But could you maybe do like could you maybe get like could you maybe show people how you would kind of take these profiles and kind of just like with this one, for example, how you would just take a clean chart, add it to that, and then how
Sure.
you're maybe just a quick process of how you would use that, and then we can plug that into your great liquidation levels.
Yeah, of course, man. So we can actually start with a plain chart. This is going to be one of my course materials, but hey,
Awesome. Give it a
we
little
just
sneak peek for all the awesome
sure, man. Why not? Yeah.
viewers.
So, but let's actually start. So we'll start on a weekly time frame, okay? And so we want a weekly time frame. So we put our profile on 4 hour. The reason is if you put it on the weekly, you
Just
get
like a
all the
candle.
profiles on candles, of course. So and there's this new indicator on TradingView is called TPO, okay?
Ooh.
TPO stands for time price opportunity, okay?
Oh, okay.
And there's an actually there's the idea is pretty interesting. I'm gonna explain it in a bit.
Oh, well.
Okay. Yeah, so you get something like this because the period is 1 week. You put it on week. Sorry, it was on 1 day. And you
Mhm.
put it on 1 week. And the block size you should increase it as well. Like I put it on 2 hour, and let's see what we get. There's this auto option as well for the block
Mhm.
size, and there you go. You get actually your profile set up.
Oh,
Now,
wow. So it just does it for you based on
yeah,
your.
it just does everything for you. Yeah. So yeah, I changed the colors for the weekly so I don't confuse them with the daily one. Okay, because the daily is actually the one that shows you like more intraday trades, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so and there you go. That's all you need to know about how to set it up. Okay.
Mhm.
And I talked about why we actually how we actually use it. It gives you a pretty straightforward edge in the market that you look. I have now one level that I know if we come here, I just close all my longs. Okay,
Uh-huh.
and what's better than that? I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
it's
that is really, really clear. So, I mean,
yeah,
how are you identifying the level? Because you've got your value area high, value area low,
yeah.
right? And then you've
It
also got your
draws
gap.
them. Yeah, it draws them for you, right? This is
Mhm.
the levels. Okay, now there's this thing called you can actually turn these options on to get the open and close prices.
Oh,
Okay,
nice.
yeah, and then you know that price opens here. Okay, for the last week.
Mhm.
I'm talking about last week. This is the new week.
Mhm.
It's Monday now. Okay, we're not talking about this one. We're talking about
Yes.
this fresh one. Okay, so the weekly it started here, right?
Mhm.
And okay, and we closed right around here.
Mhm. So,
Okay.
kind of drawing back towards the previous weekly open.
Yes. What it actually so the reason behind that 80% setup, this is going to be a massive strategy that I'm going to explain on my course, of course. But since the close of the profile is above the value area, okay,
Mhm.
this is the value area,
Yep.
but we have closed above it, right?
Mhm.
Yesterday we got this pump, and so if we get acceptance into this value area, okay, there's a good chance that we're going to meet the other extreme of the volume profile.
Nice. And
Okay.
then you can kind of overlay that with regular price action concepts, right? Like looking at the downside. You
Yes,
kind of
exactly. Of course. Yeah.
nice.
I always start with price action and then add the volume profile to it.
Yes. Yeah,
Now,
of course.
yeah. So okay, and you what did I do? Sorry. Okay. And now you can see that right now it's acting as a strong resistance actually. So we close above. It's doing its thing. I'm not
Mhm.
sure if we're going to get the pump. We're ready. I have I have 3 longs open. I shared 2 with the members.
Mhm.
Okay, and yeah, this is what we're looking for. Our entry is at around here, I think, on
Mhm.
ETH. Yeah, but But yeah, this is what we're looking for. But if we get the close, we just simply close our position in profit and just move on to the next one. That's why I like volume profile. It actually makes your life easy. You get your levels.
Anytime you can get that kind of clear read from the market, right? It's so
yes, of course. But I mean, like people who use, like, I don't know, trend lines, for example. I mean, should I draw it from here or should I draw it from here? Is it broken? Is it not?
Yeah, from the bodies, from the wicks, it's all very subjective,
Exactly.
isn't it? That's the problem.
Yeah, and another thing is that volume doesn't have anything to do with time. Okay, that's another thing. If you draw your trend line, okay, like, I mean, you would draw it like this, from this low to this low, okay. But the time while the price is continuing on x-axis, which is the time axis, right? The variables would change, okay. But volume profile is anchored to the weekly time frame, or on this one to the daily time frame. Okay, that's another thing that I like about it. The time doesn't change anything on this chart.
Nice.
Yeah. So yeah, that's about that. That's about this one. So it's the TPO. I just wanted to say this is the level that is the line in the sand for me right now.
Nice. And what's that sat at, Raz? Is that 66,572? Is it
66,540?
66,540. Nice.
Yes. Okay, and then let's jump on this one. I know you had like your issues with this, but yeah, this I shared them.
I couldn't get the right chart open. It was definitely no fault of the indicator.
I shared them on a daily basis in my personal channel for members. I shared the levels with a little bit of TA, like this one. These are like from the past week. I when we were like around here, I shared, okay, these are the levels that will that are going to act as magnet for the price, right? And you see how it actually reacted to them. And yeah, you get your liquidity heat map basically with this. And these are generated by like by open interest, okay. And I put a lot of time on this one to make the settings as simple as possible. You only have one variable here, which is OI sensitivity, okay. And the default one is back tested. I already used the default one. The default is 5, okay.
Nice. Okay.
And yeah, it works like out of the box, right? You don't need to change anything. But the only thing that you probably would find like a little bit, that's not my fault. It's trading views, because not all the assets for crypto market have open interest data.
No, in which case you can't. The liquidation levels won't work.
Yeah. So what I do, I use XBT USD.P. So the P stands for perpetual, right? I use this one for Bitcoin and the Binance one, Binance Perp.
Oh, okay. So if I put it on, so I've got this open. I'm just going to try this in the background, but I've obviously I keep it on my charts now that I've got it on there. But so basically, if we wanted to do it on, say, some alts, then try it.
Let me do it right now. For example, you want the liquidation heat map for AVAX, right? You need to open up the Binance chart, but this is a spot. This doesn't have open interest.
No, it has to be futures, right?
Just add .p and you get the perpetual contracts, and there you go. You're going to get your heat map here.
Nice. Okay, quality. And then just as long as it's got the open interest data, then you can basically go across on any one that you want.
Yes, of course. If you now go to ETH, you're going to get this ETH. Bybit doesn't have open interest ready on TradingView, but yeah, there you go, have your liquidation levels, right?
That's really cool.
So this OI sensitivity, though, if you're using like regularly to check out the heat map, it's just fine. You just use the 5 as you just keep it as default. But I actually want to show you how that works. So right now you get your levels like this, right? With 5. If you increase it to like 8, okay, you're going to get your levels like like imagine if you like zoomed out a little bit. Okay, so you want more high time frame levels.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if you increase it, that it would happen. If you like reduce it to 3, you get more local ones. So the sensitivity is a little, it works like as inverse. You know, some people confuse it a little bit. I just wanted to make it clear here. But yeah, so these are like less reliable and less liquid levels, but you get the most. Once you're like scalping on 1 minute, you just want to know what's the local liquidation like zone for you. And
that's quite cool on the low time frame there, isn't it? Right, because you can see how they start to cluster.
Yeah, right? Sure.
See where those are, and then obviously, you know, you're not just going into it blind, but in terms of, you know, you throw in market structure, entry techniques behind the strategy, and then it just gives you that little bit of extra confidence, doesn't it, to kind of see where those positions are, where that kind of liquidity can be hunted. Yeah,
definitely. And you see it. Oh, by the way, there's one more thing that I need to add. Apparently, like I explained it pretty in a pretty bad way, but this is a leading indicator. Okay, these levels you know them when you're around here. Okay, you get you know that this is going to act as a strong like support for us, because a lot of liquidity is resting here, by the way. Okay, so this is a leading indicator, so you can extend it, and in the future when you reach it, you can expect the support or like this level acting as a magnet for you. So these are leading. These are not generating based on the price.
Yeah, which is not, because most indicators, right, for maybe some people that are new on the stream as well, most of your indicators are going to have your RSI, moving averages, etc. These are lagging indicators, right? Meaning that price, what's happened that then gets reflected has already happened in the past. So anytime you can get leading indicators, right, then obviously that's something that can play in. And for me, obviously, when you're driving these down to low time frames, it really does make a big difference.
Yeah. So and you can see the respect, right, when you, especially when they're stacking up. You see this level is like darker a little. There you have like lots of levels stacking up. They especially on lower time frames, they act as a strong magnets for the price. So when you're around like here, you can expect price reaching to this zone, because you don't have any liquidity to the downside, right? Let me like when you're around here, okay, you don't have any liquidity to the downside, but you have your liquidity zone, a huge one actually, to the upside. So you can expect price going and clear it out. Okay.
Have you got that set on 3 or 5 at the moment, Rez?
Have you still got that one? It's on 3 right now, but yeah, because I'm so low on time frame. But like,
yeah. So you're looking for more of those localized levels.
Yeah,
I'm looking on the ETH chart as well.
Yeah, they shouldn't be too different on other time frames. Like I switched it to 5, and you still see your levels, right? You still see them. They're there, but like they a little, like it filtered them out a little bit, you know.
Yeah, for sure. It's just really interesting. Right? I'm looking at the ETH one like you are at the moment, right, and where price currently sat, and I can see this kind of cluster sat around 3477, and then again at 3429 on the low side. It looks, as you've got on your chart there, right, we've got 2 big clusters kind of holding on there. So yes, I think immediately you could do something really, really simple. And I know it sounds like maybe too simple, but if you're looking for a strong breakout above this, price is in a little 1 minute consolidation, any sign of strength, and you look to the left and you can see those nice clean kind of equal looking highs that sat there, and your liquidity cluster above just gives you that conviction, doesn't it, to kind of say, look, price is bullish at the moment. And we can actually, you know, as I'm saying this, we can see price kind of starting to reach up for that as well. Yeah, it's really, really cool. I mean, when you look back on that data, right, like you said, especially in those areas where we cover this quite a lot when we do the trade club stuff, right, which is that one of the most difficult things in trading is sitting around and doing nothing. Right, you know, people just people want to trade, you want to enter trades, you want to chase things, but if you wait for the right moments, like when you look back on the chart that you were showing us there, and you can just see that you basically have no liquidation levels below you and just huge clusters of them above, then, you know, I'm not saying ape in and just open along, but get yourself on a time when you can find a trigger, right?
Yeah, of
If you get
course.
that trigger, then price is always going to be kind of magnetized towards those areas.
Definitely 100%, man. And yeah, you can use it on both low and high time frames. I wanted to keep, as I said, I want so there are a lot of variables in the code, right? But
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to keep it as simple as possible because a lot of settings just change them a lot, and I didn't want that. I wanted to have a solid like heat map for people.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so and you can also use it on higher time frames. Like if you're a swing trader,
Mm-hmm.
you already see the respect for the levels, right? There's
Yeah. I mean,
nothing that you like. This is actually this one was nice. This one, of course, like we got a 20% rejection from that.
but look, right, but you can also see, right, how price reacts at these levels, right? So when you see price come in, so for example, if we look at your two top liquidation levels, the two red lines at the top, right, you can see, like with that first one, you can see all those long upside wicks. You can see price literally starting to reject there. Then if you just look at something simple like a structure break, or a shifting
Of course,
structure,
yes.
then all of a sudden you're saying to yourself, right, okay, look, we're rejecting here. Where in contrast, you look at the second line, the one slightly lower down, and you can see how price had that big expansion through it, right? And it's showing you that strength compared to the other one. Yes, we had this big kind of leverage, little like liquidity pump back. We had the drop. But then as soon as price gets back above, you're then saying to yourself, right, well, where's the next level it can head for? If it's showing me strength here, and then boom, the liquidation level above, right?
This one, yeah, of course, yeah. That's actually how I use them, and this one actually makes my life a lot easier as well. I don't need to really think. I just can see the heat map, right? And I know there are lots of different tools. I have like a lot of them in my channel. If people are member, they know that like I have my AGGR template. I have like other things. There's this block something company that I used to use for liquidations heat map, and one thing that I like about this one, like it has its flaws, right? But it's on trading view. I hate switch between tools, and
You
to get
do.
my level. So yeah, and that's actually one thing that lots of members has love these levels as well. So, and if you like add the TPO to it, right, you're going to get things a lot clearer,
Yeah, so show
and
us this overlay, right? How
so
you would do that, how you then bring these together.
yeah, so I keep them separate, to be honest. So they're on two different tabs, okay. But the reason behind that is I don't like complicated charts, and when there's a lot of lines, I just
Yeah,
can't
too much
focus.
noise, right? That's the thing.
Yeah. So especially I keep my watch list open on this one as well, so I can switch between coins. But this one is like clear. I just want two levels. Okay, give me two levels. Like a good example is this one, right? Like I think a lot of people longed long this level with me. I shared the setup in
Yes, nice and clean. That was.
yeah. Um, so this one was pretty simple when we were. Let me show you. When we were like around here, we had this point of control, and I posted it. Okay, guys, this is the support that we're looking for. It's going to act as a magnet. So if we get a good structural like reversal here, I'm going to long. And yeah, the long is doing great right now.
Nice.
And the targets are obviously like this one, this profile, and this one. Okay, this POC and this P. So from this one to this and this. Yeah, and look what happened. That's actually like this one tagged out, and they're not like naked anymore. Since I just need like two levels, okay, I just want to know where's the most volume traded, okay, and I just I put it on my chart, and I just, based on the liquidation heat map, I know how should I react to this price action,
And you
But
just overlay that as confluence, right?
Yeah, definitely. So this one was at 63K, right?
Hmm.
And I think it was on Binance chart. Yeah. Look, we had this liquidation on 63 as
Hmm.
well. So confluence, like at this zone, and we got the reversal. We triggered the trade. It triggered the trade, and we got it. We got into it. It was nice, actually.
Because you're using like you, I know you favor, you look for your liquidity sweeps, right? Your market structure breaks and stuff like that as well. So you're waiting for that kind of confirmation setup within this. And you take like your detail that you get off of the daily and weekly profiles, you then overlay the liquidity levels on that, right? So then just to kind of run it through, especially for people that may be kind of a little bit newer, it's about building kind of like, I always call it a story, or like, you know, building your confluence that's kind of saying to yourself, okay, well, look, if we believe this is what the draw on price is on the higher time frame, right? And then we overlay the fact that we've got liquidation levels that line up with that as well. And then the market gives us an indication by like a nice market structure break, some kind of displacement. You look for that kind of, let's say we're looking to long, you're looking for that bullish trigger. Then all of a sudden it's what makes it so nice. And what I find you always hear from the best traders, like you're talking about here, is you talk with great conviction, right? Because you've got a system that you've tried and tested, and when you then overlay that, it kind of gives you that ability to say, look, I've hit the trigger, this is where I believe price is going, I'm going to enter this. You're not second guessing yourself as much, right? You've got that confidence.
Yeah, exactly, man, exactly. Look, a very nice example of it is just here. Okay, so I know when you're trading, you look for like sweeps, right? This is the first thing that you look.
Yeah.
And I mean, what you do is you mark the inverse fair value gap. Please correct me if I'm wrong.
No, exactly right, mate. I'm looking for a strong close of that.
Okay. So, and when we like, so now you get your triggers, right? You set your bids here, and
yeah, I do it. So I'll either do it on a breakout. So if I'm low time frame, the first candle that closes above, as long as it's got a good, you know, as long as it's got a good solid body close above it, then I'm looking to get in there, and then I'll probably put my stops underneath, say the order block. But similar to that. Yeah.
Nice. So this indicator can help you two ways. Okay. When you're trading like in your style, right? First one is you can confirm that the sweep was on was a major one.
Yes.
Why? Because we cleared out these liquidations. A lot of people liquidated, etc. Okay. And the other one is that so you can probably be more aggressive when you see that that a liquidation level is hit as well. Okay. So you can probably just enter once you saw the close above it, right?
Nice.
And another thing is that it gives you the targets and very major one, like this one, and this one, like TP levels, right? And when you and you see that they act like to the dot, right? They act to the dot. That's because this is how the market works.
It's in a constant flux for liquidity, right? You're talking about major institutions, huge positions being opened and closed. They can't just do these in the middle of nowhere because the slippage would be horrendous.
Of course.
They have to be there. Basically, for people that don't know this kind of theory, Raz and I are very much kind of aligned in how we see the markets, which is that they're moving from liquidity pool to liquidity pool. And using stuff like this just gives you this great kind of extra confluence. In fact, while you're kind of going on about this, I can't stop myself kind of looking. I'm just on the ETH chart at the moment, geeking off on that, looking at the different levels. And one of the things I've noticed that's really cool is that at the moment, I'm saying to myself, I'm looking at this, we're reacting from a bearish 15-minute FVG, right? So if I look at that, and I'll show the people at the end of the stream the kind of setup that's on here, and you just play those reactions looking at that, and you can just scalp off of it. But the thing that's really kind of I noticed the most is as I look back with the older data, is as we're kind of interacting with these lines, basically, if you just wait patiently for price to engage with those lines, right? And you know what? I'm just going to steal your screen for a second just so that I can show these guys.
Do it, man.
It's so impressive, right? Now, this is down on a 30-second chart. It doesn't have to be, obviously. It's just to show you more data. Now, anywhere we have this collection of lines, right? So this, for example. Now, you know, if you just wait, patiently for price to come in touch with any of these lines. Yeah, like here. So price comes in and attacks this liquidity level, right? We don't get any kind of structure break here. So there's no reason for us to be shorting these. So again, we just sit and we wait for that confirmation, right? The first one that you get is you get this one hit to an absolute T, right? So for me, if I'm in here on this trade, just to give people an example, then first thing I've got here is I've got my sweep. Like Raz said, I can now confirm this sweep is significant because I can see that we're driving into this. Now, I'd be a little bit hesitant here because we can see that we've got this draw higher up, right? But even still, if I was to just use my inverse entry methods, which would be this for me, I mean, I wouldn't have entered here just because we closed so low, because my initial move my stop losses here, right? And then I'll target these equal lows down here, for example. But if we'd had, say, a smaller close here, then very simply my position would be here, stops above the order block because we've set this order block in the way that price has moved down. And then I would need to know that I've got something in the trade that I can move around about here. So unfortunately, with this being so low on the close, this wouldn't have given me a trade setup. However, then when we come back up and we attack this liquidity cluster, then I'm saying to myself, right, well, we've swept this high. What makes that significant? Well, we've come into the liquidity cluster here. But now I don't just sit there and just short this, right? I wait for the market to give me an indication. And what I really love about this is you get these really clear and obvious FVGs like this one, right? And this is a gap between these three candles. Price has drawn in, found support, found support. Then when you get that punchy close below, and for me, it's about momentum as well that we move in with here. Then all of a sudden I'm saying, okay, well, there we are. I can put my stops above this order block, or you can put it above here. And then, like you said,
that's like 4 or 5 hour.
Yeah, and you've got these ready-made levels down here, right? So I don't need to get out of this trade at any point until I see a bullish reversal, and I'm going to leave this. I genuinely don't know what price does here, but what I would say is if we come into this, all of a sudden, if you start seeing these structure breaks, then that's when you can start to take profit and move out. We've got more liquidity levels down here, right? So you can leave runners in. You know, you've got miles of, room within this. And then all of a sudden you can see, look, bang. So you just saved yourself there, right? That's the difference of cashing out at 3.8 R, versus 1.8. And then, you can still see you've got this draw down here. So you can look for confluence, and there you go. Bang, reversal, look for your next inverse.
And you made all that in like what, 20 minutes? Because it's on 30 seconds time frame, right?
Yeah, exactly, right? So, I mean, you're scalping these in. And if we just look to current price action that we've got here, right? So I just drew this out a moment ago because what I found interesting was if we look at the 15-minute, right? Let me get rid of that. We can see at the moment we've got this nice draw up here, right? No real liquidity below. So if I'm looking at this now on a 15-minute, I'm saying to myself, well, this is really key for me. Because if we close above this, we can see that what we've done here is, if I just get rid of that for a moment, we've come in and taken out this low, right? Really key. Nice liquidity sweep. Now, fine, we might not have a liquidation level down there at the moment to kind of look at. However, if we want confluence, we can see we're delivering from a bullish order block here, right? Now, as much as I'd want to see a 15-minute liquidity sweep here, what I can do is wait for the market to show me strength. And if we close above here, and inverse this fair value gap, well, all of a sudden, I can just say to myself, well, this is the first real kind of key area that I'd be looking for, right? This high, and then this one here, because we're coming towards this gap, okay? So if I do that, and then I just drop down to the 1-minute chart, well, all of a sudden, look how immediately I've got all this confluence here with these levels, right? These liquidation levels that are just sat here. These are my manual ones, right? And look at the draw above. We don't need to, what we would say, go hero trades here, right? You can just see, and again, look, where we're in the middle of nowhere at the moment, like it's not giving me masses of confluence, right? But I can use the higher time frame to get that, wait for that structure, close above it, and then I can just wait for that structure. Oh, if I draw it in with the right thing, to get above here, and then look for that like sweep, and then all of a sudden you've got pre-made levels to attack here that also line up. Obviously, if we just pop back very quickly to our 15-minute. We can see we've got these key highs here, right? So I've kind of excited myself here, really, Raz. So I'm going to pass the screen back to you to close up for us, because I think what would be really cool is maybe if we had a few people ask about, I don't know if we'll have the data for this, like ARB or IOTX.
The trick here is just to use the perps on Binance, not Bybit. Bybit wouldn't work because Binance has the or some, I don't know. It's just my classic problem with TradingView, right?
Yeah. So yeah, Rekka, it's not just me that has issues with TradingView, although mine have been a lot better.
Yes. So okay, you can start on higher time frames, of course. I don't see anything because it hasn't generated a lot of levels. When they, by the way, this is actually a good example. When you get like, these are just filtered out levels, okay? So this one is more significant. But if you want like more levels, you can just reduce it and you get your levels.
Nice.
Yeah, that's the only setting that you currently have. Oh, there's actually one more thing. Remind me. I can tell you. You would probably like it. So, okay. So ARP is pretty is a nice chart right now. What I would do is I mark my range as easy as it is. Maybe actually this one. Okay.
Nice.
And then I would add my profile, because why not? We get like we get the levels that people actually care about, so why not? You know.
So how are
And
you interpreting that data then? You see the point of control, right? The line going across the middle. Are you concerned more about your value areas, or are you
yes,
kind of so now you're saying, right, we're holding a key level, yeah, you're at the value low. So how does that represent for you in terms of how you would look to trade?
yeah. So there's this strategy that I use. I've been using it for, I mean 2 years almost. That's basically my strategy that I'm using right now. And this is basically behind every single trade that I shared with the members as well. I will talk about it in my course in details, but what I generally need is a deviation out of the value area.
Nice.
Right. And now the reason is pretty simple and pretty logical, because like this is the 70% of volume, right? And when we're below it, people, institutions, good traders, or whoever, bots even, they see this as a discount. Okay. And and what you want is, when you want to long, you want a discount, and when you want a short, you want the price to be at like oversold or premium, right?
Yes, exactly.
So that's basically what this tool can show you. There is like, of course, you can use your price action range, and that's basically what's behind all the price action ranges, right? You draw this range, you wait for your deviation or swing failure, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay. Because you assume that since we failed this swing, the price was oversold, we trapped traders and everything. But you cannot really be sure. I mean, there's no sure, of course, in trading.
No, wish there was. We don't work in that kind of realm, do we?
No, yeah, but no, I read Gio's message. Yeah, but here you can easily confirm that, right? We made a deviation out of this price action range, like these two levels. But you can confirm that deviation, since we got a deviation out of the value area as well. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah. So then we get inside, we get a structural break, we get a retest, and then we target the other extreme. Like we front run it a little bit. This is an example of like to show you that this strategy is not going to give you 100% win rate or anything, right?
No, none at all.
But at least it's going to give you good trades and easy ones. Okay.
Yes,
You don't need to
consistency
talk
as well,
about
right?
you don't need to think a lot about a lot of things. Okay?
That's
Yeah.
sometimes the best way.
Yeah, of course. And this point of control here, like I care about the point of controls on my TPO settings a lot. Like this trade was literally based on this MPOC only.
Yeah.
Okay. Of course, we zoomed in. It's 30 minutes. Of course, we zoomed in. We looked for like the reversal and everything. that you use as well. But yeah, this is just one level that I was caring about, and we got them. But on the fixed range, this is the fixed range profile, right? Because you draw them manually and the range is fixed. But on fixed range, I just use the POC as a take profit zone. Okay.
Okay. So when price gets back to in a kind of like looking at it, maybe like what from like a mean reversion type of perspective, that because you're at the extremities, price then when it's drawn back to the median or the equilibrium, often that's the kind of real key point. When I used to do a lot of range trading and was fortunate to learn a lot from SZ, it would always say the same thing, right? Once you get back to that midline, that's the point that you're either looking to book profit, move your stops up, secure the trade, because until you see that closed above, or you see that strength above it or below it, you still have no indication on whether the price still considers that value, right? It could then still run back to the extremes.
Yes, of course. Yeah, that's actually a tweak into this strategy that I use as well. When if you have flipped the point of control, you don't want to go back and retest it again and go above it. So when we flip this here, my stop loss would be here. Some people put at break even, but I put it here just aggressively. I just yeah, and I get a stop out here, and the price rises. Right now, like we have this ETH trade open, right? Which is on this layout. Okay, we have this ETH trade open, and I just like around 1 hour ago I posted in the channel that if we have flipped the POC, which is a good sign. Okay, but if we get below it, I'm going to close this trade. Okay.
Nice. So again, really nice and clear for people, right? Really easy to understand.
Yes, that's all you need, I would say. I might be wrong. I might be wrong, and a price comes, do this, and go up. But I mean, I don't really care. I just miss one trade,
but it's consistency over time, right? I think that's what a lot of people miss out on with trading. You know, a lot of people kind of have expectations of moving into the market, having all these crazy high win rates and stuff like that. You look for something like with Burb, for example. Now he might only have a 30% win rate over a year, but he's super profitable because he knows he loses small and wins big. Someone like me, I kind of have a high win rate strategy, but on a very low time frame, which means that my risk to reward is a lot lower, meaning that it has to sustain that higher win rate in order to return anything that's very similar, but much smaller moves, higher fees. That's the price that you pay the lower the time frame you go. And you kind of sit in the middle with this beautiful kind of swing profile, didn't you? And you kind of, a lot of your stuff with this is on a higher time frame. And the higher the time frame, realistically, the more kind of useful the data is, because we have more data, key time frames, exactly. Stop loss, SC.
is this you or it's QBS?
That's definitely QBS, the ghost in the machine who is there. Right, guys, I didn't even realize, having so much fun that we've been running on with like 15 minutes over schedule.
Yeah.
Shall we, do you want to jump back on next week, Raz, and we'll kind of pick up on this again?
Why not, man?
It's been super interesting. So
let's do it.
A big thank you for coming on, mate. It's been a real treat. I think everybody's loved it. I think we've got about 3,500 people live at the moment across Twitter, YouTube, and Instagram. So I hope you guys have all had as much fun as I have. I, in fact, am now going to struggle to not go and play around with this all afternoon, because I really want to see. I've already got a little kind of short setup here on ETH on the low time frame. So it's, I mean, I'm enjoying it already. I'm just going to share this with the viewers very quickly before we go, just so that you can see the fun of it, right? But with this, look, this is a 15-minute level, yeah, so that's the rejection point that we're looking at. We've had a really nice sweep. Now I'm saying that this is the liquidity cluster. So in terms of how the trade will look, the entry was here because we closed below the FVG. All right, I put the stops above the swing high here. I'm actually at about 2.21, so a little bit out on that. But now we're going to look for that, right? And that lines up with the fact that we got this beautiful liquidity cluster below these lows, yeah? So you're already in a trade, you're there. I've secured profit because at these lows, I've already moved the stops up, and we're already, probably about 1.3, I think 1.4 are up. Really interesting, man. Look, thank you so much for coming on, brother. We're going to do this again next Monday. It'll be really cool. Maybe even make a little bit more time for it as well, so we can go on a little bit longer. So I hope to see everybody there. Raz, you're an absolute legend. I'm going to see you around the nest this afternoon, my friend. And for all of our viewers,
thanks for having me.
Mate, anytime, mate. Everybody's really loved it, including me. So have a fantastic week, everyone. Do remember to keep an eye on the economic calendar as well. and I'm going to see you legends around the nest.